for Sung Hyun Park, and the first of them was really good actually, because she left herself about 12 feet to try and save par on the first green, and confidence boosting putt went in. She led at the halfway stage of the US Open, so it's not a completely new experience this for the Korean.
And safely on the fairway, but the ball will be very much below her feet, so getting the towards the right direction on the flag could be a challenge because of that lie. You see how she rotates swiftly through the ball, hips though rising up at impact, slowing down, and then she turns through to a nice finish.
She's very thin.
You see a player be able to go back to a conventional grip and use it to good effect. It looks a much more solid stroke in her hands that way.
Well, a little bit of distance between Sung Hyun Park and In-ji Chun in terms of their tee shots here at the third. The bold line is obviously the one that Brittany Lincecum took.
It's going to be hard to do for Sung Hyun Park because of the lie. Ball is quite dramatically below her feet. She's going to have to make sure that the right shoulder continues to work underneath and not over on top, because you know as a player that this shot should go to the right, so you try and make an adjustment and you turn it over a little bit more. Typically it's with the shoulder, but if you keep the right shoulder moving under, you can get it on plane.
Well, it was a good looking swing, wasn't it?
Yep.
We'll go back to the third.
Well, Shan Feng couldn't close the gap. Turn now of Sung Hyun Park. Finished second on the Korean money list last season to someone called In-ji Chun. Looked in, didn't it?
Did look very close, and I'm pretty sure that she felt that was just going to...
Each hole.
Quite a sensible strategy, that, and it's really keeping her in her own zone, in her own bubble. And you know, you can even narrow it down even further to the individual shots as opposed to just those holes. You got to trick your brain out here on a golf course. Oh no, she didn't head it back.
But was she okay?
She did eventually, but she was fine.
She did eventually recover.
Yes, she was
3
fine.
years later.
They did. They did take her to the hospital, though. They got the ambulance out.
Dear. Well, these things do happen, don't they, sadly? But very rare. Sung Hyun Park.
Oh, what about that clubhead speed?
She really does move it out there.
Yep. And when you watch her swing in slow motion, it's not only, you know, does she get the width, but she holds the angle of the club from the top all the way down, you know, to almost where...
A really good birdie try here at the fourth.
Caddy lining Sung Hyun Park up, and I'm not really so much of a fan on it on these really awkward lies, because you say to your caddy, this is where I want to aim, this is where I want it to go, and then when you stand over it, you might feel like you need to allow more or allow less. It's completely taking a player's feel out of the shot.
Well, we see that quite often. See how fortunate Park was there at the fourth for that ball to stay there, Karen.
Really very lucky indeed. Brittany Lincecum also got that same kind of break just a few moments ago.
she get it to the hole? Yeah, that's been the problem. Players below the hole is hitting it hard enough to get it to the hole. Shouldn't be a problem there for Park. Tremendous amount of poise for a player who has really not just had enough on it to give her a birdie try. Sahara Namur with a good chance for a 3. Back over to the 4th, and Park to clean up here for a par, which is not a problem. She remains at 11 under, 3 shots back of In-Ji Chun here in the 3rd round of the Evian Championship. Solid start.
A million, because her playing partners have both played really good shots in here, both
Where it is today, it's really enticing players to with the water there. It's only on 5 yards, it's 3 off the left, and you really do have to play to that left side. Of course, you're looking at that bunker too, so it's in quite a narrow spot on the green, and right there it is.
Here from Sung Hyun's caddy, so it's either 6 or 7 iron. This quickly becoming probably most people's top 5 swings in women's golf, if not higher. Combine aesthetics with power. It's pretty impressive. This on a great line if it's a number.
Oh, is it? So impressive. And while those around them seem to struggle, his final 3 ball going along pretty serenely.
She's all business, isn't she?
Chan at the top.
Caddy so very involved in these reads. I think she'll get less break than she would before watching In-Ji Chun's putt.
Quite a difference in styles in terms of Sung Hyun Park and In-Ji Chun, not just in terms of their golf game, but their attitudes on the golf course. That was a good looking roll, but Sung Hyun Park very businesslike. She's very serious, and In-Ji Chun's all about having fun and enjoying herself out there.
Tad frustrating for Park. It was a lovely tee shot, wasn't it?
6th hole now, Tom, is a tough par 4. Fairway slopes from left to right towards the lake, but ideally right side of the fairway is pretty perfect. Those bunkers do come into play. Many players hit 3-wood off the tee just to stay short and keep it in the widest landing area, because fairways are important. And then the green is really tricky. The front portion of it quite narrow, heavily sloped, and then pin today at the back right, pretty close to that bunker, and then you have a slope off left, so you can miss the bunker right. Or
In-Ji Chun really in a position where she could put some distance between herself and the field, and that would be so important coming into the final round of a major.
Well, you saw what Lydia Ko did last year, went out and shot a 63, made it really difficult for Lexi Thompson to come back and beat her, and you know, scores like that are out here, so the further ahead In-Ji Chun can get, the easier it's going to be for her tomorrow.
Yeah, you really feel like this is an important stretch over the next 6 holes or so for In-Ji Chun.
Well, in that stretch, there's 2 par 5s that Sung Hyun Park can easily reach. That's not a good spot.
Sung Hyun Park missing the bunker there, but maybe she would have been better off in the bunker.
Well, that's the first time I've seen her hit a driver on that hole all week. In the green from left to right to deal with, and should be fairly quick.
Have you had a chance to have a look at the live for Park, Jerry?
I did, and she got a little lucky that she's not going to have to stand in the bunker. It's close. It's very close, but she can take almost normal stance on this and play a somewhat normal shot from the rough, albeit a little bit of an uphill lie, which will make her swing even more flat-footed than she normally does. But it's only 148 yards. It can be done. I don't think she's going to get too greedy with it, though, on purpose. And the hosel turned over in the rough. This at the left edge.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get the hips and the lower body moving through, and you do tend to get very handsy and armsy and wristy with it, which of course helps that to go left as well as the grass grabbing it, as you said.
Inji Chun has given herself a great chance for a birdie at the 6th hole to move to 15 under par. It was a tricky stance, wasn't it, for Park?
It was, and it's so close to the bunker, very easy to feel like you're going to lose your balance. You can see she still gives it a good full shoulder turn, but it's in the downswing that really creates a difference. You can see her dropping in low, and then her hands just recover, trying to turn. You see how much they turned over through the ball, just quite handsy.
And we'll go over to...
And Sung Hyun Park will be first to play, obviously off the green. Not a ton of slope once it gets to the flat spot. The problem is, from a downhill lie, she really can't loft it to that flat spot comfortably. So going to play a pitch and run, land it on the downslope. That'll give it all the momentum it needs to get all the way to the hole. And turning a little right as well. It's not really a tough shot, all things considered. Far enough from the primary rough to where that's not really a factor.
Let's see what Park can do here at the 6th.
Not a bad effort. Jerry did say it was very doable, very comfortable time.
Dottie Pepper did it at the ANA Inspiration in '99. You, of course, did it at the Rico Women's British in '04, and Christy Kerr at the 2010 Women's PGA.
Some guy named Tiger Woods at St. Andrews as well.
There we go. This Tiger has the record on the men's side, and you share it with 2 other players on the women's side, all the same. It might well be beaten this weekend.
It's definitely got potential, doesn't it?
Are you nervous?
Missed opportunity on the last green. This, well, eyes wide open for Sung Hyun Park.
Looking left.
Just popped out of that thick rough. That will make a big difference.
That could likely make the difference between a layup and an eagle putt.
It looked pretty. I think everything that she does since now after the Olympics is going to seem easy to her. I think the pressure that the Korean team faced whilst playing there in Rio was so intense that anything is a lot better.
.234 the hole for Sung Hyun. That's left. That needs a good bounce just to have any kind of pitch shot. And that's not a good bounce.
Yeah, good luck from there.
And if you're thinking about playing a shot from the rough and you're worried about the ball turning over and the hosel catching it, a good way to stop it is by gripping a little bit tighter.
Look at that. What is that flying over the ball?
I know, it's a little bee.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Is if you grip it a little tighter in your left hand.
Look at its wings going there.
I know.
Watch out, here comes a club. Look at birdie, Jerry.
That to have a birdie putt would be amazing, and she has to land it right where her caddy was standing to do so and really flirt with keeping it in the rough. If she lands it off this somewhat hard pan line, I don't see a chance. The only chance Sung Hyun Park has, Richard, of getting this ball on the green is because the green is soft. But even her caddy's pointing to a point in the rough, and sorry, I'm going to talk over their conversation because I have no idea what they're saying, but That is so risky to do so. If she lands it a few yards short of that, it will not bounce through, and she's got a brutal fourth shot. She lands it on the green. If she doesn't loft it up and get a nice little soft bounce, it's rolling completely off. That is only a product of how soft the green is, and she will take that result all day long.
Still an opportunity then to make birdie. She will expect the other two players in this group to do that.
It takes quite a lot of courage to stand there, hitting a full swing, releasing the club through the ball when you've got trees and out of bounds and things going on behind it. When you're standing there as a regular golfer at home and looking at that, there's no way you're going to be able to do that kind of swing. That's a fearless brain mixed with talent.
Well, yeah, full swing with the wedge. I wonder if Sung Hyun Park needs a full swing with the putter here.
The better part.
And she's not done yet there. It's a real test, isn't this, for Sung Hyun Park?
Be going first. And as you mentioned, a little work remaining. This is probably still outside the hole unless she jams it in there, and that's not advised.
Seven holes, 7 pars for a 7-time winner on the Korean Tour this season. Edison, here's the 8th.
Quite a long par 3 for players, but they can take advantage of this green, and especially if the hole is located down the left side, because the green slopes from right to left quite severely and heavily. The bunker's short, not an easy up and down because the sand is so thick and heavy, and there is quite a bit of elevation change if you're at the bottom of it to the green.
Yeah, those bunkers soft because of the rain that we've had.
Golf course did have half an inch of rain overnight, so it's no wonder we're seeing it playing particularly soft.
Then 2 inches the night before. Adds up quickly. Remarkably playable, though. Not a lot of squishing in the fairways. Of course, we're getting to the higher part of the course. It's an 8-iron for Sung Hyun. Plenty of club for her. Hoist it way up in the air. This ball might not bounce. This is further right. Chan's.
Interesting, she got the caddy to line her up. He lined her up, and he walked. As he's walking away, she had a little shuffle out to the right. And we said how, you know, she's got long limbs, and you know, she's quite tall, but she takes full advantage of it by getting a nice width, nice and good height too with her hands. But watch how long she holds the angle of those wrists too, and then she just releases it, boom, through impact. And through. It's holding that angle and then releasing it at the very last minute that creates as much speed through the ball and gives her distance.
Hi.
She's probably got a pretty good idea once again from Chan's putt. Turning a little left, very quick. All things considered, talking to the rules officials this morning. As much rain as these greens have received, they've still held their speed pretty well, still at about 11.5. Although I don't know of a green out here that's flat enough to test.
Seemed to roll out nicely. The caddy thought it was going to go in, maybe need a little bit more pace. It did maybe need a fraction more, but just a 3 for Sung Hyun Park. And we'll go ahead to the 16th green.
Connected with her upper body through the ball. That the only thing that could really send her off is if her rhythm gets slightly out of whack.
It's like she folds her right arm, turns, and nothing else changes. It's pretty impressive to watch. As is the power in this young lady. Just so flexible. You mentioned it earlier. Long limbs, that almost Johnny Miller type reverse C through impact. Old school look. And generates some serious speed, although she gave up on that one pretty early, and I don't know why. Just airmailed Shan by 30.
Looks like it could be lunchtime for Sung Hyun Park.
You can see it is a really wide backswing. Hands get high. She's trying to generate as much speed as she can. By doing so, she holds the angle with her wrists and just unleashes it through the ball. Her hips don't continue to turn at impact. They sort of slow down, and her left hip moves up instead of completely turning around.
In Sung Hyun Park, see if she can get there in 2.
Into the breeze, I think it's out of reach, even though it's 234 front. This is the right side of the fairway, and that's a great angle to pitch to this hole.
Exactly where she would have wanted to leave that. She left herself in the perfect spot down there, and well, there could be a bit of a change on the leaderboard after the conclusion of this front 9 for the final 3 ball.
For me.
So this the potential for a 3-shot swing. How straightforward's this putt, Jerry?
It looks awfully straight based on the caddy line that he was indicating. Almost dead straight and uphill.
Timely first birdie of the day for Sung Hyun Park. And suddenly it's all tightened up a little bit at the top. Up again with you tomorrow afternoon. It's to the 10th we go. Off the back of that birdie, honour goes to Sung Hyun Park.
Playing into a little slight breeze right here. She's watching it closely.
Dissects the fairway.
Yeah, I think she was just aiming for a sprinkler head or something. She watched that the whole way like the fairway, and that was never in doubt.
So let's have a look at this par 4, 10th, 417 yards, downhill, dogleg to the right, trees left and right as well. There's no...
Park second at 10.
146. That looked like a 9-iron on a terrific line, just right of the hole.
And doesn't move. Sung Hyun Park at 11 under to start. Sung Hyun Park now a chance to get it to 13 under.
And she's had a lot of chances today. Hasn't made a ton of putts, but she hasn't really gotten herself in too much trouble. The few times she has been out of place, she's played some great shots to limit the damage. Very composed young lady. You cannot get any sense of nerves from her whatsoever. But then again, she's used to being in a winning position, just not on this stage yet.
Yeah, you can tell just being around her. There's no false confidence. There's no nerves that are out of the ordinary. 7-time winner this year alone, 10 times in all on the Korean.
Venue for the Ryder Cup in 5 years' time, or 4 years' time, I should say. Of course, 2 years' time, it'll be in France, in Paris. Just one behind now, Sung Hyun Park.
That was an aggressive play and a good one. Didn't need to play a shot that far, but it makes a much easier approach.
But even with that short a club in her hand, pretty tough to execute.
Well, she's hoping she's opened the floodgates. 8 straight pars, birdies at 9 and 10. Now her approach to 11.
In green light territory here, just 105 yards. That was a maxed out gap wedge. Look out.
Beautiful.
Paying the price right there for swinging hard at a wedge. That was a ton of spin.
Direction.
Well, one very close, one pretty close, and one not as close as you would like.
No, but it's not a tough putt from here. Not much break to it at all. The problem is getting it to the hole. This is straight up mountain right here. Working, I guess, in general, a little left. I didn't see much. He's looking well right of the hole.
Frustrating, right on the jaws. In the jaws from Park Sung Hyun.
She reminds me of Lydia a little bit when she putts, because she has such consistently perfect speed. Now, I realize she just left the putt short, but it's so close to perfect. Or you cannot possibly envision the good shot.
And then you question it.
That's
even,
right.
Even when you are doing it sometimes. So Yeon Yu to stay where she is. Yes. Yep, it counts. 1 over on the back 9 so far, though. Back on the tee, Sung Hyun Park.
Watch this left arm extension. It is extension that goes right from the golf ball. She just swings that left arm fully extended all the way back to the top and back to the golf ball.
And the shot was as pretty as the swing.
And I tell you, I really think it's very important at this 12th hole to have the ball in the left half of that fairway, because playing from the right, it's just too awkward with the slope from right to left.
And you saw what happened to Angela Stanford. I know she was in the rough, but that was from the right, and there was no way to stop it.
But you can't be sure if you're off a foot or two that the ball's going to actually roll, because the greens are so soft.
And then you're left with a putt from above the hole.
Yep.
What a drive here for Park.
31 yards ahead of her nearest competitor, Inji Chun. 112 to the hole.
She is just really a poster player for one of the great tenets of teaching in the game, and that's the extended left arm. Not a stiff left arm, not a straight left arm, but fully extended.
All the way through until the very end in her follow through. She's landing it right, trying to spin it back over.
She got part of it.
Interesting she chose that, though. She had the shortest of the 3 shots, and she went for the big spin, maybe off that up. You got it. Her high school team won 3 4A state championships. To the green at 12, and Park for birdie. Right there.
And once again, that is Lydia Ko kind of speed. It's perfect speed for the putt that she had to deal with.
And that putt has been missed on that side every time that we've seen it. But it did everything but go in. So 12 all day, only 12 birdies there. And 23 bogeys or worse. Had a hop or two along the way, didn't it?
Yeah, it didn't get off very smoothly.
which can take it offline, take some of the speed off.
You're looking at the final group of the day, and you are looking at very soft greens. Some of this little bumpy up and down cannot be avoided in that case. So, of course, that might have been one of the more makeable ones.
Playing as a par 4 for this lady. Is that too far right? No, it's not. Look how far down there that is. Big drive at 13 then from Sung Hyun Park.
Sure.
We'll find out. 13.
Just a hybrid there, 229 to the hole, and my, this looks nice.
Right over the flag from Sung Hyun Park. It is a different game when she plays it, isn't it?
You gotta, when you play alongside someone who swings the club like this and hits the ball like this, you have to really work to stay in your own little world. She has very much of an old school finish. Finishes high, that almost reverse C of her body.
Yeah, that's not something you. We did this, we did that. And then when you make bogey, the other guy says, you did that.
Well, that's the famous caddy story.
Mm-hmm.
We made 4 birdies, and then she made a bogey.
13.
Well, 2 birdie chances coming up, 2 good ones as well, but this, after 2 wonderful strikes, is an eagle putt, which would take Sung Hyun Park, for the time being at least, alongside Ian Ji Chun at the top.
Pretty flat in terms of speed, which is rare out here. A little bit of die to the right, according to her caddy, but only at the end.
Whisker away, so close to that birdie at 12, and similarly close there. She was getting ready to celebrate, wasn't she, Judy?
In some ways, I don't blame her. The putt sure looked good, but not that I would know anything about the 50s. No.
Read about him.
Took a little while to get going today, but Sung Hyun Park getting a little pat on the back from her caddy there as she cuts the lead.
Looking for her first win on tour. Park also on the tee at 14.
With a 4 iron. Although it's towering like it's a 7 iron, and this is dangerously at the right edge.
Dancing just off the edge for Sung Hyun Park, but you watch her swing. She could be intimidating to play with.
Well, for sure. And she's a tall player, and there's so much. People work so much with posture these days and how you'll set up to the ball, but she actually keeps herself very tall, and I think that is part of her distance advantage.
She's got quite the steely gaze as well, which can be intimidating. The mannerisms are that of a lot of self-confidence.
There is that old school follow through you talked. So the last of the 3 for birdie here at 14. Park
going with putter, pretty slow, not much break at all.
She was bound to do it. The last 2 from that distance did everything but go in. This one does.
Eagle birdie changes a lot of things.
15 under par and 3 under on the back 9. And now you've got the par 5 coming up next. So what might happen? Sung Hyun Park. You just felt like one of those was going in, Judy.
Yeah, well, the ball has every chance to go in when you roll it with such beautiful speed.
Yeah, and that tougher to judge because she was not on the green. Had that higher growth right behind.
back at the tee. Sung Hyun Park looking to make the most of her power off the back of those 2 straight birdies that get her within a shot of the lead. Well, she showed us where it's going as well as TrackMan there. Depending on the lie, whether Sung Hyun Park could have a pop at the green. What sort of lie is it, Jarek?
It's thin enough with somebody with her club head speed can get it done. It would be much easier if you could hit this with a descending blow, but the longer the club, the tougher that is to do, and she picks it pretty cleanly at the best of times, so not her standard shot. She got a fair amount of it, needs to run though.
Park to go first with a 3rd hit.
Slight uphill lie, aiming well right of the hole. That needs a check. Well, she had the idea right on the contour, just gunned it a bit too much.
But it gets her back on that first page. She's currently in 6th all by herself. Back to 15.
Well, there's a 3-shot swing a little earlier in the round when Park made birdie and Inji Chun made double bogey. There's potential of a 2-shot swing further into the advantage of Inji Chun here if this doesn't go in.
And it's not an easy putt to coax in either. Sliding right, downhill a little bit. Just an uncomfortable cut or putt by nature.
Yeah, the tough part about the little left to right putt is just getting the ball started on line. If you can just get that first foot correct.
Too much speed for that line. You mention it all the time, marrying the speed with the line. It sounds almost romantic, but it's tough to do on a downhill slider. It takes just exquisite touch. Taking more time on this than normal for a 1.5 footer.
Well, she was closing the gap, wasn't she? 3 behind suddenly.
It's a good setting here, isn't it? With the hospitality tents, chalets to the right.
It's a great setting. It's a well-designed par 3. It's not very long, but it gets more than your full attention. 141 yards today.
And this is between a pitching wedge and gap wedge. Had both of them out. I'm told pitching wedge is a signal, but you're right, Judy. This is Evian's answer, I guess, to 12 at Augusta, isn't it? Where it looks like a hole on the scorecard that should be nothing, but so much can go wrong here late in a major championship.
If you have any breeze or anything, it can be so hard to choose the club.
Oh, it's impossible then, isn't it? Because it swirls around these grandstands as well. Little breeze helping right now. This is right edge at best.
So in the bunker, and really that should not come into play today. I mean, obviously it's going to if you mishit or misjudge it, but almost every group going through, we have seen very mentally. You better be ready for a really long day. Back at 16, Park's 2nd.
There's something here, well, not the easiest of bunker shots. If there weren't water on the other side of it, you wouldn't think much of it. Slide uphill lie, not a great one. Green will roll a little right and spin a little right. Test of nerves right here. That's a mighty swing at a short shot.
Could go in.
Mighty good one.
Oh. That's generating some speed at the bottom.
She deserves a hand for that.
A bold play.
That was so pretty to see where the club entered into the sand.
Great description of it, though, too.
Yeah, says she doesn't get...
Much like Sae-Ri Park, who started it all for those from South Korea who've come over and become dominant. Park. Really good out of the bunker, wasn't it?
Terrific par.
To try to keep pace at least. But she's going to drop a shot there to the leader. In-Ji Chun up by 4 over Park, and then Shen Chen Feng in that final group as well. 6 back. Some separation now.
Sung Hyun Park, but 4 behind now. She must feel, in a way, that In-Ji Chun is kind of a nemesis last year on the Korean tour, upstaged by the tournament leader. Being upstage right now here at Evian. Just an iron required off the tee.
She just hits those towering high long irons that is so rare in the game, although that one might have to deal with the tree a little bit. Likely can get over it quite comfortably.
Well, In-Ji Chun shot the low round of the day on day 1, equal lowest in a round of 63. So we see a slow-mo of another super strike from Sung Hyun Park.
Willowy is what I would call that lanky body.
Pow. Not often the case, is it, today? But I think it's going to be Sung Hyun Park to be firing into this green first.
And the tree not really an issue because of her natural ball flight. 142 yards away, probably a 9-iron. And to take it on the correct line, basically right at the camera tower, and use the slope to get it close, she will have to go over that this branch sticking out, but she'll clear that by 10 feet. Right over it. Big high draw. Needs to catch the slope to be good.
It does.
Pretty darn good.
A little unlucky actually not to go a little further down the slope there, but excellent shot from Sung Hyun Park nonetheless.
The one great comment that I heard from someone this year, well, actually, I remember who it was. It was Rich Lerner. Was smile. It's free therapy.
Uses up less energy as well, smiling than frowning. But it's such a tough green. That's why it yesterday in particular played one of the hardest holes of the day, because no one really able to master it. 3 birdie chances, all go a begging, and we are as we were.
Although it is kind of depressing. You've heard one great comment all year.
Can't tell.
Sung Hyun Park, who Shen Chen Feng really talked a lot with yesterday. She speaks some Korean and went back and forth. She said, you know, she's really skinny, so it's surprising because she hits it a long way, like as long as Lexi does.
That one was struck very solidly. It's hard to tell based on her reaction. She's so detached from the results, and we've talked about it in the past, Judy. I think that is a mark of not only a confident player, but a champion.
Yeah, and just people with such a very strong mind for the game. where they are not easily destroyed.
In 41 yards on the cards, moved up to 416 today.
Yeah, and that little bit of distance change means a lot on this hole because the second shot is very tough. It is really tough if you cannot put the ball in the fairway. And as tough a hole as this is, it is also maybe the narrowest landing area on the golf course. So you put it all together and you have the hardest hole on the course, and it happens to be the finishing hole. Water plays a part. Hole location plays a big part because it's a very deep green from front to back.
And it'll be a hole location pretty much back right tomorrow, or up on that upper shade tour, unless you're going to go to Q school, which she's not. And she had that conversation with Shen Feng yesterday, and she told her, I'm not really decided yet. I don't know what I want to do.
Well, she gives every indication that she's going to win her way onto the tour.
Yeah.
If she can take enough invitations and so on, the kind of player she is.
Spot on the first 3 days, so we'll see. Park taking a look at her second.
24 yards closer. It looks like 9-iron.
Boy, 24 yards can make a huge difference.
No kidding. Go from a mid-iron to a scoring club. Little fade just left of the hole. Looks the right distance.
Absolutely the right distance. So this is a player who's closest to In-Ji Chun with the best chance perhaps of catching her, but she's 4 back. Now to look at that swing that you have come to really like.
Yeah, well, she sets the club really beautifully at the top, hits into that shot. You see a long, shallow divot.
And just a thought. So it comes down now to Sung Hyun Park at 15 under, looking for birdie.
No, she just hits it where caddy tells her to. She won't miss many. He reads them as good as anybody I've ever seen, and I've never met him before.
Really?
Yeah. He hasn't missed one that I've seen. She has, but he hasn't. Typical.
Yeah.
That's that tough part of the game where you have to hit it where you're looking.
Mm-hmm. It seems so simple. The easiest part of the game from a physical standpoint is moving the putter back and forth 6 inches each way, but boy, it can work on you.
The problem is you're not looking where you're hitting.
Mm-hmm.
A few do. Try to quiet the ducks down. Okay, you look at the names that have emerged in the last 5-6 years from Korea in major championship golf. It's one after another. In-Ji Chun was one of them last year. Not many people knew much about her across the world in terms of